We're live.
Do we do the mic check?
Check one, check two,
Unique?
check one.
I can sing into it if you want.
Yeah.
Are you a singer?
I used to be.
All right,
Okay,
good.
so we're live.
Awesome. We're
All
live.
right.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
This is our camera. So, we're here today with Sue Prins, right? Susan? Sue?
Sue.
Suzanne.
That'd be good. Susan if I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I've been a few times.
So, what did you, where did you go to high school?
Went to Jensen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the mascot of Jensen? I don't even know.
You really want to know that? The Wildcat?
Wildcats.
Wildcat.
Yeah.
Wildcats. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were born and bred
Cats.
in Jensen?
Yep. Well, I mean, I pretty much, as a child, I moved here from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And, started
Okay.
the Jensen school system. So we pretty much stayed there. Yeah.
What's your comfort cheat food?
Cheat food?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Bugles.
Bugle.
Oh, really?
All right. I like the ones you just put on your fingers,
Bugles.
right? You just put on your fingers.
And I haven't had them in a very long time.
Like flavored ones or the normal ones? Or because they have tons of flavors, I
Yeah.
think.
Anyone.
Anyone will do. Not chocolate or anything.
Oh.
Ice cream.
Well, chocolate's good. It's just like
Mhm.
it can get me in trouble because it gives me that high and low thing,
Okay.
crash. So
Did you do chocolate
I-
cereal?
yeah, I did. I tend to like salty over sweet.
Okay, me too. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Savory all the way.
Yeah, I kind of do that. Oh gosh, I just had chocolate. Now I need something salty, and then
Mhm.
oh wait, I had something salty. Now I need something sweet. But I probably prefer savory.
Do you go to concert? Are you a music person?
I do like music.
Okay.
Yep,
What's
yep.
on your playlist?
Well, probably.
What do you rock out in the car?
I like all
country?
genres. I do.
Yeah?
Yep, I do. From classical to classic rock. Probably my favorite band, a duo, would be the Civil Wars,
Okay.
and they're no longer together.
Okay.
Kind of.
I've
like.
heard them,
Yeah.
actually.
Never heard of them.
They've got that kind of just.
Serious radio. So,
Okay.
on the spectrum.
Do you do Sirius Radio?
Or
no,
Spotify?
No,
or...
I don't. But anyways, yeah.
Okay.
So that's my favorite. But I kind of just like that more. Bluesy, mellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been selling real estate? When were you
Almost
licensed?
16 years. It'll be
16
16 years, I'm told by my assistant in April.
So Paul and I were talking on the way over here. It was interesting that how real estate is, how much has changed and come and gone and tried and stuff like that. Like, do you remember QR codes?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I-
Remember how QR
I
codes were going to change the world?
Tried it.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Texts for information writers.
Yeah.
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 Instant phone numbers
Yeah.
where you could like dial a 1-800
Yeah.
number and get instant information on the house.
Tried it all.
Brochure boxes.
Yeah,
Do
brochure
you
boxes.
use brochure boxes?
Oh my gosh, no.
Do you have
Do you
them
have-
in your garage?
I think I finally got rid of them.
Did you?
Oh, I was gonna say.
I think I finally did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were a real challenge in the winter.
We drove by. We were on the way here. I look over. There's a for sale sign on the way here, and there's a brochure box attached to the post. And I was just thinking to myself, like, oh my goodness, brochure boxes.
Yeah.
And then kids would rip them out, and then your clients would call saying, "Hey Sue, our brochure box is empty."
Yeah.
Especially around Halloween, the kids just snap
Especially in
Yeah.
Halloween, yeah.
They'd get
Yeah.
wet.
They get wet. Yeah.
You have to
They'd end
you're
up all
constantly
the
replacing
colors
them.
all bleeding together,
Oh
and
my
yeah.
Then you get the
Yeah.
tube.
The two.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we're done with that.
Angle it down so,
So glad.
so the water comes out.
I used to just like mail like hundreds of listing cards. I'm like, hey, here's just like 500 of these. Just load them in.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
kids steal them, just keep loading it. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so that brings up our follow-up question though.
Yes.
I mean, we're kind of jumping right into real estate.
Yeah,
Is that right?
you are. I mean, totally
So-
skipped over the fun stuff to make
Well,
it kind of
those
chill
are
and
those
relax.
icebreakers to get you not thinking about all of this. So,
I want to go back to music.
Yeah.
Let's forget about real estate.
Well, let's go back to your origin story.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So what I really wanted to know is, and this is kind of like jumping right into the meat of it a little bit, but like we see this stuff come and go, and as realtors, we oftentimes feel that pressure to jump on the bandwagon, like, oh, I've got to do QR codes, I've got to do 100 numbers, I've got to do blah 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 blah, because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
What have you seen in your 16 years of being in the business
Yeah.
that like has stayed true? Like, what are the things that aren't fads? What are some of those like key components that like are just never gonna maybe never change? I don't know.
Well, I mean, are you talking about the relationship stuff or the business of?
Maybe we go with both. I mean, the relationship's the relationship,
Yeah.
right? That's like,
Right. I mean, that is. I mean, I think. and this might be a question you're planning on asking me, but I think because when you sent me that little thing about all these different questions, I saw something about that bullet, that silver bullet.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be a people person in this business because it's about people, right? And so that's never going to change. I don't think. That's my opinion. That, I mean, if you're super shy, I think it's going to be, you can do it, but I think it's going to be tougher. I think people want to see that you're warm and that you genuinely care and that you're, you know what I mean? That you're personable.
How do you, Sue, do that? I mean, we say that, like, you have to be a people person and people skills. How does that live out in your life? Like, do you randomly talk to people?
Yep, I
on
do.
the road?
I do. Well, an example of that is we go to the gym every morning.
Okay.
And GVSU. It's just kind of our daily thing that we do. And there was a gal in the locker room that I see every morning. She's this sweet girl. And we just basically are just, hi, hey, how's it going? That sort of thing. But I finally just opened up and just said, hey, I see you here every day. Tell me your story. And she shared with me, and then of course that usually leads to, what do you do? And then I share with her. I said, well, I'm a real estate agent in Jenison, and I travel from Newaygo, and we just got talking about how things go in my world. And she goes, my gosh, it's amazing that you're talking to me about this because I need a realtor.
No.
So literally, like,
That's
I
great.
think 2 days later, I showed, I'm at her house.
Wow.
And showed up doing
And that happens
market analysis
regularly.
Yeah. I try to just I think when you talk with people and ask about their life and what they're doing, like I said, it bounces back and it gives you that opportunity to share what you do and what your passions are. And real estate is my passion. It just is. I'm not one of those, like, want to be a bulletin board everywhere I go that I'm Sue Prins and I'm a realtor, but it's what I love to do. So,
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question. So you go out and talk to people, and then I know you have a very mature business and you have a team. And what happens to after you make that contact? Do you use database management systems? Do you drip them? What if this person said, hey, I've been thinking about buying maybe next spring?
Yeah.
Do you just?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do usually hook them up with the auto search, and I do that, and get them started so they're at least.
So that's your go-to.
Look
at the houses. If
they're going to be buying,
Okay.
then I want to hook them up with that, and texting and emailing them. I'm not good at database. I'll be right up front about that. We have used in the past a card, send out cards. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Heard of it,
To give them a little bit more personal touches that way. But I'm really excited about the new database that 5 Star is offering. I think the
Sidekick.
CRM, Sidekick. I'm super excited about that. We're just getting into that, actually. So I mean, I can't say that I'm even familiar with it yet, but from the
because you're not a database person, do you hire that out and do you focus on what you're good at?
So I have an assistant who will be doing this for me.
And
I should say with me, I want to learn it. I'd like to know, how, for me, what that can do, for me to touch base with my clients. I don't want it to be just her reaching out to my clients.
Right.
What if my client says, hey, I saw you sent me such and such the other day, and I'm like, what was that? So I think it's important that, I'm involved in it, but maybe a little more behind the scenes than her work in it.
Is there don't be like a you're not bragging or anything like that, but what are you really good at in the real estate process? What's like your I think Caitlin Grant said genius zone the other week. Okay. And so what are you really good at?
I come from a perspective of working, my husband's a builder. Okay, so being in this industry for a long time.
Yeah.
So I bring that perspective when I'm working with clients, be it sellers or buyers. Okay, so an example with buyers is when we're walking through the home, I feel like I know the structure of a home pretty well. Like I've learned about windows, I've learned about roof structure and things to look for with roof foundation, the bones of the house. So when I walk through a home with a buyer, then it's not just doing I call it the Vanna White. That shows my age, but here's the kitchen. Here's
She's
the
still
living
around.
room. Here's so I'm usually going over to the windows and looking at what kind of windows they are. Give them a try. Or I'll be usually when I meet the clients there. The first thing we do is we don't walk into the house. We stand outside and we look up at the roof, the structure of the home. And that gives me that opportunity right then and there to show them I'm going to bring some value to you here, that I'm, not just here to do the Vanna White. I'm here to bring value and help you make a wise decision. Yeah. So I believe that, coming from that background gives me, maybe a little bit more of a unique perspective than another agent.
And you're good at that.
So
you take your house knowledge and your life experience and you give value within the first couple minutes before you even show a home.
Exactly.
What would be, how does it happen with a listing?
So the listing, when I go through the home, they usually want to know, well, what things do I need to change or prepare, with my home? So when I do the walkthrough, again, I'm showing them some value. Yeah. And I used to stage our homes when we did, my husband and I, when we did, like, say, Pray to Homes. I would be very much involved in that and making the home very showcase, show ready. Yeah. So I'll, walk them through what kinds of things are going to be not only, to make it show ready, which would be like staging things, but also let's take a look at some of the things that might come up in inspections because of that background. I may catch some things ahead of time that, guys, well, and for example, that girl that I met at the gym, she had a deck that needed the railing because it was, too high off the ground. So just that, for example. Yeah. And I think that impressed her that I would know this sort of thing, Okay.
So you have a team. What is Ginger good at?
Ginger, oh my goodness,
who is Ginger?
Ginger is my daughter.
Okay.
Yes. I'm extremely proud of her, of course.
Well, tell me about your team. You have an admin and Ginger.
I have an admin. Yeah.
So it's three.
So the three of us. Okay. Yep. Yeah. That Lisa is she's my sister and also my assistant. Oh. She's amazing.
Family business.
Yes, family business. It wasn't set out to be that way, but so Lisa, she's super efficient, and I love that. She is one that she just keeps me on target. She's really great at it, and she's really great at client relationships. My clients end up talking to her a lot of times more than me, because she's keeping a lot of times a transaction going, so they get close to her. Sometimes closer to her than me.
Have your clients ever come to the closing with a gift for your admin and not for you?
No.
That happened to me. Okay, so that happened to me all the time when I had Paula. Paula Annis was my admin. You remember Paula?
Yes, I do.
I do. Yeah. They would come with these gifts for Paula, and I at some point you're like, why am I not getting a gift? But at the same time, you're like, well, she's so good at this. Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah,
right?
She's gotten gifts along with me, but maybe she has, and she hasn't told me. But so that's Lisa, my assistant, and then Ginger, my daughter. She started in real estate. Man, she was probably 14 or 15. Like, I had her just helping me out, being my sort of admin, just helping me with, paperwork and whatever. Back then we had a lot more paperwork because we didn't have dot loop, right? So we did, I could tell she had efficiency in her. And somewhere along the line, she apparently developed a love for real estate because she decided to get, which was a surprise to me. I never thought she would want to get into it, but she ended up getting her license at a young age. I think she got her license just shortly out of high school. So I want to say she was, well, at the time she was the youngest with our board, when she got it. She was 19. And so here she is still at it. She is super good at follow-up. Okay. And I think that's something that in the busyness of real estate, us agents aren't always good at. I'm not. That's something I could do better at, is just, staying in touch with people. And she's really good at that. And that's panning out for her. Yeah. Yeah. That's
good. To give the viewers here, like, another look at your business, how many transactions do you do? Like, what kind of volume do you do? What does a year, like a good year, look like for you?
Yeah, so a good year, my best year was 104 transactions. Yep. Awesome. That was 18 point whatever million volume. that's what
That's
I
great.
would love to
That'll keep
maintain
it,
every
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But I don't. The market does this sort of thing, but then I think to myself, well, maybe I need to try something new, and I'll do that. I'm not great at consistency, and
Okay.
I think that when you try something, for a good example of that would be Jeff Blahnik. He does
Okay.
those. He does not flyers. I think it's
The little
more like
mailer,
cards, the little mailers.
Yeah, little trifold.
I tried that and it didn't work as well for me.
Yeah.
But I know why. It's because he's done it year after
He's done
year
it for
after
20
year after
plus
year.
years.
He's consistent, and I get bored with it.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to try this. I'm going to do the home show. I'm going to do TV8 or whatever.
Jeff has a nickname. Sorry, Jeff, but you told me your nickname one time, and he calls himself Boring Blahnik.
Oh well.
Now, it's not a bad. I mean, but he's got a game plan, and he sticks to the game plan.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
So
I have a question though.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
just while we're close to topic. So Liz Rhoda, hi Liz, says, hi Sue, if you're an
Hi,
agent,
Liz.
if you're an agent that doesn't have the building and structural knowledge and background, do you know of any good classes or resources that teach that sort of thing?
So here's what I would recommend that she do is
Sure.
to set up an appointment with a home inspector.
Okay.
And that is even something we should be doing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We keep talking about it, but we haven't, because codes change, things
Yeah.
change.
Yep.
So that's really important. And she's going to get a whole lot of knowledge just by walking through a home with a home inspector, be it, a home that she has, listed or that
Yeah.
she's going to be going with her buyer. But, maybe just pay them a little bit more to take some extra time, or have them go through your own home and,
Yeah.
do the thing
Yeah.
and pay them for it. It'd
that's
be
a good
valuable. Yeah. My husband has taught us well, with a lot of these different things, but coach change. And so that's why I would love to, pursue that sort of thing.
That's a good idea.
I have a question for you. You do a lot of transactions. You're in the market every day. There's a lot of conversation going on right now about what's going on with the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on the market? What do you think is happening? I mean, people are listing homes, no showings.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And how do you explain it? Or what's your thought? What's your thought on it? I mean, you're not right or wrong. I'm just curious.
Yeah. About this time last year, I noticed the swing again because of, people getting involved in school and church
Yep.
and, sports activities and what have you. I noticed it, but not as much as this year. So
It's a little bit more extreme.
I think it's a little more extreme. I think it is. But I see spring being right back up there again.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, all the economists that we're listening to and reading about, they're saying we have 2 to 3 more years of this kind of consistent lack of housing.
I think so too.
So do you think that, and I've mentioned this a few times, I've heard this said a few times, do you think there's like a collective consciousness of buyers going, I'm just tired. I don't want to go and do this right now. I want to just take a season just to relax. Is that a thing? How do we explain the lack of showings?
Well, I have noticed some of my buyers getting frustrated. They're like, what, we're just going to put this on hold for a little while.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, just keep us on the search. And
Well,
then, we'll revisit this in
Yeah.
the spring. But then I'm going, wait a minute, because the spring, remember what spring you just went
Right.
through and you got frustrated? Now's the time. So if you're a buyer right now, I think this is your time.
Yeah.
Because you're going to probably get better pricing. Now, wouldn't you agree?
We are definitely seeing price reductions. You're seeing
Yeah.
people coming in below asking now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
sellers are still in a fantastic position because
Yep.
they're getting a fantastic value for their house right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we are seeing that. I've also heard of a few people calling me going, hey man, I've been listed for 2 days. I'm kind of panicked. No offers. No showings. And then all of a sudden, boom,
Yeah.
full price offer comes in.
Yeah.
They're thinking there's multiple offers still. So they're just waiting for that one buyer. But
Yeah.
I just think it was interesting because you hear some people mentioning like maybe we're swinging back towards a buyer's market. I don't see that yet.
Yeah, I think we're probably, and I didn't look at the stats today,
Yeah.
but we're probably more on the fringe of a neutral.
Yeah.
You got to remember, it doesn't go typically right from a
No.
seller's market to boom, we're in a buyer's
Yeah.
market. There's that,
You lived through buyer's
neutral
market.
zone.
neutral
Yeah,
zone that is still comfortable yet, for sellers. But
Yeah.
we're just on the I think the fringe of that. What are
Yeah.
we like 2-month supply or
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, which historically is historically a 2-month supply. Well, when we hit 3.5 month supply,
then you're in
that
there.
was a record.
Yeah.
Grar had never in its entirety seen a 3.5 month supply.
The
So
low-
we're
they thought it was low.
That was the low.
Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
all-time low record.
I'll
And
remember.
we're way below that still.
Yeah.
So,
And I remember on the flip side of that, when we were double
yep.
a
Remember we had-
buyer's market.
remember we had 15-month supplies
Yeah.
in some areas.
Yeah.
And you remember what offers looked like back then?
Yeah.
It was, we want you out in the day of closing.
Day of,
You're
yeah.
paying for all of the taxes. We're not going to prorate taxes anymore. I mean, it was crazy.
And our closing costs.
And closing costs, and we want you to pay for the home warranty.
And leave the washer and dryer.
Yeah, washer and dryer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
I was just curious what your perspective
Yeah,
was. Thanks for
that's
sharing.
not my favorite market.
No, that was another whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And back then, I was more on the listing side, and which I prefer to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, now I'm more on the buyer side.
Mm-hmm.
That would be one thing I'd
Mhm.
like to change. And I know there's something I can do about it.
Yeah.
But, that's when you're in a listing side, and that market that you just talked about is, I think, far more frustrating than the buyers, because
Yeah.
I still believe there's opportunities for the buyers. We've won plenty of sales for our buyers in this
Yep.
this seller's market.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that the mindset that you hold? I mean, you've been in this industry for a while and you've seen different markets.
Yeah.
So what would be your mindset for as we fringe towards a neutral market? Are the things that you do you get down?
For me as an agent marketing, or are you talking towards my clients?
You internally.
Okay.
Like, do you ever get discouraged? Are you scared? Are you nervous?
Not scared. I think I'm concerned. So, but as I said, I know there's things that I can do about it to make adjustments and improvements, and that's something that I'm looking at, and know that, like, just recently I started prospecting more.
Okay.
I got away from that. When things are rolling along and you're good,
Yeah.
and comfortable. I mean, I've been very comfortable with the amount of business that I've had.
Okay.
So I mean, we work hard and we play hard. I like to take time off,
Sure.
so I'm comfortable in that. But I'm concerned that as I've seen, my numbers aren't up where they were last year at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go, okay, I need to make some adjustments. I need to
Yeah.
kind of go back to my roots of how I got into this business. I hired an amazing coach when I first got into this business,
Okay.
who taught me very well how to prospect. And
What's your flavor of prospecting?
I do like to be on the phone, talking with people on the phone. I think I did door to door and all of that, and that's more time consuming. And
How about
can
now?
be-
Well, you mentioned you're doing some more prospecting. Are you just sort of reaching out and staying in touch?
I'm reaching out more now. Like, for example, just yesterday I looked back at some of my, past clients that, well, maybe they're not clients now, but they are people that I prospected before that said, hey, we're not ready now, but, they're thinking about it years down the road. It's
Yeah.
important to touch base with those people now, because you just never know. And I've had some of those this year that said, we're a couple years out, and then all of a sudden they're calling me going, we think we found our house.
Yeah.
At 2 of them this year that were like, we're years out, and 2 of them that bought homes this year.
Right.
So yeah, I've been thinking about that more, that it's really important that I look back and actually not just send a card or whatever, but make a phone call. So
And
I
you
have
reach
been
out-
doing
you
that.
reach out directly and then talk to them.
Yeah, just I haven't talked to you in a long time. How is it going? Just
That's all
yeah,
it takes sometimes.
just touching base,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but my coach had me, like, I'd sit in a little room all by myself, me and the phone, calling FSBOs, calling expired. FSBOs were my favorite, still would be my favorite, but
Yeah.
you don't see very many of them, do you?
No. So if you were
Very
to start,
few.
so if you were to start over right now,
So
you would go FSBOs, expireds.
I would go FSBOs, and I can't say I wouldn't do expireds, but I probably would do FSBOs, and then my past, my advocates even it doesn't even have to be, past clients or those that are in the wing, but I think just reaching out to those advocates, people who have had great business with you, that love you, and you had a great experience with, say, hey, I'm just reaching out. You guys, I know you guys, appreciated the business that I did for you. I am looking for more business. Just be real with them and be honest, and that was another thing that my coach had said, that you're going to find that generally people want to help. And,
they do.
So,
they want to
help
you. So if you were to start over in the business, you don't have a past client base, right? You start, let's say you've been doing something else and you're just now getting into the business. What would you do?
Well, open house is another thing we didn't talk about. That for me was, and still is, a big resource for me. I still do open houses. I don't do them all the time because I like my weekends. And so if I'm going to do one, I'll do one, like one a weekend, okay? But not every weekend. So you know what I'm saying? I won't typically do a Saturday and a Sunday, but I'll do maybe a Sunday or a Saturday, maybe once or twice a month, twice at most.
Okay.
Because I value my weekends and my time with my family.
But even still, I mean, 18 million in volume, and you're still out on the front lines.
I like to do them.
Talking to people at your gym, open houses.
Yeah.
That's great.
Have you ever considered a weekday open house? Like weeknight
yes,
open house?
We did do one recently,
Okay.
and it went well.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a ton of people there.
Yeah.
I was reluctant,
Yeah.
and I asked, I think I went through the 5-star website or whatever, or GRA, the email, and I just said, hey, who's done weekday open houses? And I got a good response, so I thought, I'm going to try it. And I had a ton of people there. I typically pick up at least one client at
Every open house.
Every open house.
So it's like you just
if
you keep doing them, you're going to fill up your pipeline.
Can I ask how you do that?
So when I'm walking people through the open house, my sellers probably wouldn't like to hear this, but I focus on them as people. Just like, so when we're walking through the open house, let's say we're going through the house,
Hi.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
We're just kicking around, looking around a little bit.
So, are you from the area?
Yep, northwest side.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit about you and your.
Well,
I see you've got a couple kids with you.
We have a growing family, and we're just kind of tired of problems at our current house, and we need a little more room to spread out.
Oh, okay. So where do you live? What street? are you on?
Well, we live right near Mr. Burger on the northwest side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
love Mr. Burger.
Yeah, me too. I grew up
Olive
going
burgers.
there. Olive burgers. They're known for their olive burgers.
I know. They're
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm a big fan of their grilled cheese, and also the Mr. Burger.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I just got their French fries last night.
So listen, so you're just kind of getting started now.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been working with an agent or?
No, I've been spending a ton of time on Zillow, just kicking around, just kind of trying to learn about the market and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Cool. I'd love to help you. I don't want to be in your face with this, but I'd love to be able to help you. Have anybody ever talked to you about an auto search and
Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of curious, like what if right now I'm looking at Zillow and I'm on here every day. I'm on here in my pajamas every day. So what if I were to start talking to you, what does that look like? How much do I have to pay you? Like, what does this look like?
Right. So you can see we've struck up a conversation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it won't even go to real estate for a while.
Yeah.
It'll be focused on family. We kind of jumped into real estate right away, but I typically talk about the family, or if they're with a family, or what do you like to do? What do you enjoy? Just kind of find out what their hobbies are, things like that, because we might find something in common. I've had that before. You guys know I like to fly fish, and I gained a client once just because he liked me just because I like to fly fish. Big deal, but I don't know. We had that in common.
You look for ways to align with them.
Yep.
That's what your daughter said. She said, "Hi, Mom." She gets a buyer at almost every open house. I think she gets it by talking to them personally. Focuses on the people, not necessarily the house. That's true.
Yeah, I try to, like I say, try to find something to align with, or just to show them sincerity. Like, oh, you've been having trouble with finding a house. Tell me what that's been like, with your journey. So then you're showing that you have, you care about that journey. And usually they open up about their experience, and maybe you find something you can change about that experience. So
I think we genuinely know, like, you kind of know what their pain point's going to be. Already to a certain extent, you're kind of like leading them down the path a little bit because like everything's selling. I can't find what I want. Holy cow, prices have gone up.
Yeah,
we're exhausted.
Yeah,
how can you take that pain from me and help me?
Right.
Yeah, and if you can answer those questions, I'd work with you.
Yeah.
So this rapport building, this able to
Yeah.
talk to them about.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that can be learned, or is that just a function of your wonderful personality?
No, I mean, I think there are classes for this,
Yeah.
but
Did your coach help you out with this, or is this just
no,
who you are?
my coaching was all about prospecting. Okay,
Okay.
I mean, like, making the phone calls and setting time to make those phone calls and to do door knocking and things like that.
Sure.
But even with door knocking, I mean, door knocking, you got to show yourself to be personable, right?
Yeah.
So funny story about that.
Yeah.
So the first time I went out door knocking, I think it was the first time, I was nervous. It's so nervous,
Sure.
I had my little cards. But one of the houses I stopped at, I knocked the door, and the guy was standing there in his underwear.
Oh.
and all of a sudden I see him go, whoop, and he goes, and I'm like, okay, now do I leave or do I stay?
Yeah, it's all, yeah.
It was so awkward.
What'd you do?
And then I stayed. I can't believe I stayed, but I stayed. And I ended up building a relationship with him and his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did put some pants on before
Yeah.
he came back to the door. And I did end up, selling a home for him.
Yeah.
And,
Really?
I know, isn't
That's
that
awesome.
crazy?
That's awesome.
But,
Man.
yeah, so I don't know why I
No,
went
that's
on that
great. It's a
tangent,
funny
but
story.
it
I think it's just funny
reminded me
stories.
of that. Yeah.
So, if you had to give advice to someone who is like newer, or maybe they do like 10, 20 deals a year, and they're like, I want to be like Sue. I want to do, 50 deals a year.
Mm-hmm.
What could you give them any advice or encouragement?
So I've been thinking about this, and for me, the amount of volume that I do from year to year, I have amazing support.
Yeah.
Okay, I talked to you about my assistant and my daughter, her and I too. We can tag team or whatever, but my husband is a huge support to me, and so I think life can be crazy. The more volume, and so I think you have to understand, well, what is that going to look like for you? The busier you get, are you a busy mom or dad, or where are you at in life? Because it's so easy to get out of balance, right? And I mentioned to you, we work hard and we play hard. My husband and I take time off. We take a lot of time off, actually. We'll go away for a weekend, or sometimes on a dime we'll just go, hey, let's go to Florida. I got a week where I'm not super busy, and I've got a team that can help me, and my husband's got a great crew. So we have that, and we support each other in our businesses. So I think that's really important. Before we start talking about how to get there, you have to know what you're capable of, I guess, or or what that balance will look like for you. Because it's like when you exercise and you work so hard to develop this habit, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing it, and how quickly you miss a couple days, and then you're like out of it. Or like dieting does the same thing. And I think that's how life goes. You can be like, oh, I'm on top of it, I've got I'm in balance, and then before you know it, all of a sudden you're like, all I'm doing is working,
Yeah.
So, and that's why we take that time away. But that probably didn't really answer
No,
your
it's- no,
question,
I think it's
but
good.
I think it's good to
actually really
understand that, right? So, and my husband, he's so great at that, and I so appreciate him for that, because I don't think I could do it as well as I do without him.
Yeah.
No, it's a
So,
great answer,
yeah.
actually, Sue, because you're asking, sometimes people will rush and want success.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, what does success look
Yeah.
like? What is it to you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
are you willing to do that? And maybe that's rather than just I want to be number one agent. And
Yeah. I
it's an
think,
important question to ask yourself.
you have to figure out, well, for you, what is balance? I mean, everybody has things that, like if you like hobbies, and, I'm a spiritual person as well. And, I like being with family, and I like to take, vacations. And so, gosh, you lay all that out there, and then mix that in with, gosh, I got to be on social media. I got to, work my client base, and there's what I mean, like there's all these things, and I'm a grandma now too, so like my grandbaby, so there's that as well. There's all these different aspects to your life, that you want to try to keep in balance. So it's important to look at that first. So
That's
I
good.
don't know.
I like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to honor your time. That's 37 minutes. So that was
37
easy.
minutes.
Awesome.
Just
Yeah.
like that.
Just like that.
So Next week we're gonna have Andy Smith. Do you know Andy Smith?
Yep.
Out of Holland.
Yep.
Great guy.
Yeah,
Looking
he's done
forward to
some
that
open
convers-
houses for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that conversation. And is there any parting words?
I just
or
want to give
anything
you a
like
high
that?
five.
High five.
Awesome.
All right,
You guys are
thank you,
great. I appreciate
All right.
you guys.
Thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in. And yeah, I guess that's it.
All right.
See everybody.
ya.